So respected Shiva, Anbu, the entire organizing team of ICT, ACT, fellow speakers, college chairmen, vice chairmen, secretaries, placement officers, faculty members, heads of the departments. So very, very good afternoon to all of you. Yeah, good afternoon. I know it's a very, very tough session. So immediately after lunch, one, I need to be awake. And two, I have the responsibility of keeping all of you awake as well. So first of all, I like to congratulate the ICT team for putting together a conference of this magnitude in Madurai. So it's great effort that's been, I know at least for more than a month, the team has been putting a lot of efforts to, give a final shape to this HR summit. So I like to congratulate them and also thank them for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be here to share some of my thoughts with all of you. I always, I've been in this placements for more than 16 years now. I always feel that, Madurai and beyond, south, somewhere the full potential is not, utilized, I would say, by the industry some reason. There is always a gap when respect to, if you look at some of the other colleges in Chennai or maybe Coimbatore, somewhere they seem to have an advantage over Madurai and down south from here. So conferences of this magnitude will definitely help. I had the fortune of listening to some of the speakers. I came here around noon. So I had a fortune to listen to some of the speakers. First session I had to miss due to another appointment which I had. So a lot of good thoughts coming in. And I'm sure all of you will be able to take away certain things which you will be able to execute, implement in your college, wherein the students of this part of the world will also have good or more than good opportunities like anywhere else in this country. So what I will try to do is, I have 3 topics which I thought I will speak. I'm sorry if some of them are repetitive or some of these points have been already discussed. But since all of us represent the IT services industry, we can't help that repetition in terms of the expectation is similar in terms of what all of us expect from young engineers which you are producing. So the first is around what are some of the changes that's happening in the IT services industry. Second, I will talk about what is the impact, because of these changes, what is the impact we see in recruitment or the expectations. And third is, what are some of the skills, which I will say new skills which are required to be successful in the industry of tomorrow. So the first thing is around what are the changes that's impacting us as an industry. See, the first and foremost which all of us need to understand is the growth rates. So when I joined this industry, 98, 99, and say after the 2000 Y2K crisis and things like that, the industry was growing at 30, 40%. And it was more about getting people. If you have a person who is well qualified or who is just an engineer, opportunities were plenty for him. Because the industry was growing at that kind of a pace, and there was so much of demand for people. And over the years, 2 things have happened. One is, I think the HCL speaker was telling in the morning, there are 11,000 engineers passing out just around Madurai, right? So we have increased supply in our engineering talent multifold, wherein the demand is getting stagnated because the industry, even to grow at double digit today, is a great achievement for any company today. We at Wipro will be extremely happy if you are able to clock a 10% growth year on year, and that's the situation across. So the growth rate, what was 25-30% or 30-35%, is coming down to 10%. So that's a fundamental shift that we all need to understand and appreciate, that growth rate in IT industry is getting more and more difficult. The second thing, the major trend which is happening is hyper-automation. See, to quote an example, of an automotive industry. Most of you will hold a car, right? If you look at 25-30 years back, in a shop floor to manufacture a car, there used to be at least 300 people working on the floor to manufacture one car. I'm talking about 30-35 years back. Today, if you look at the same metric, 10 people can manufacture 30 cars on a day, right? In any plant, right? So 300 people has become 10 people, and the number of cars has also increased. So there's a huge increase in productivity, and the main reason for this is around automation. So the IT industry today, same thing is happening, where this hyper automation and investments in artificial intelligence, machine learning, all those things are making a lot of things redundant. In terms of examples for artificial intelligences, all of you I'm sure many of you have heard about Watson's, which is the IBM's artificial intelligence platform. Today, it can do a work better than most of the established doctors or lawyers in United States of America. So any problem, you ask Watson for advice, it's able to give better advice than most of the established people can give to their customers. Similarly, at Wipro, we are invested in a platform called Homes. So every quarter, we have a target of removing X jobs, which are L0, L1, which will be replaced by machines, right? So what it means is, two things is a takeaway for all of you. One is, a lot of these low-level jobs, your engineers will not be doing going forward in the industry. That's the positive side. So the kind of work will really become exciting because the low-level things all will be done by machines. The second part of the story is, of course, there will be a reduction in terms of the workforce required to perform those kind of jobs because those jobs are not even there. So these are two things as the impact for you, but these are the changes which is happening. All of you have seen how Ola and Uber has revolutionized cab booking. Uber's value is more than $8 billion and they don't even own a single car, right? So it's all about automation and technology which is changing the thing. And going forward, there will be more disruptive changes that will happen, which will change the entire plethora of things. The third change is in terms of the development models itself are changing. When we all grew up, it's all used to be waterfall model. But today, it's all about agile and DevOps. So the same engineer has to do development, he has to do testing, he has to do designing. So it's not there will be a separate tester, separate developer, separate designer. The entire models are getting changed. So the capabilities what an engineer will have to have has to also change. So he can't say that I will do only Java coding or I will do only testing. He has to take up multiple roles, which is important not only for his success, but also for the organization's success. And the fourth change is in terms of the project sizes itself is becoming, if you look at the past, it used to be all annuity business, where you sign a deal, it will go for 3 years, 5 years. So where there is a guaranteed annuity business that comes from the customer. And people who join the project also slowly, gradually work and understand, and they also scale up. But today, in the new generation technologies like SMAC or social or mobility or analytics or blockchain or whatever be it, the development or the project life cycle is extremely small. And other change that's happening is the engineers are exposed to the customer right from the start. So these are some of the larger changes that's happening in the industry. I'll just get into the next phase in terms of what could be the impact. The first change, what we are seeing is the industry will look at all-rounders. So previously, it used to be if you're good in one, it's fine. You take him. But today, because of the change in models and change in requirements, we will need people who can wear different shoes, who can think in different horizons. So it's just like cricket, right? If you look at cricket, an all-rounder like Ashwin or Jadeja are really, really highly valued in an IPL or in any of those things because they can perform multiple roles. So similarly, the industry will need all-rounders. That's the first shift that will happen. The second shift, what we see is there will be a shift from volume hiring to value hiring. Right now, till last year, I was always measured on how many thousands I can get in terms of how many thousands of engineers or non-engineers we can get. So this year, the metric was totally different, right? What numbers I can get at what quality. So a lot of new parameters are defined in terms of quality and how we can get better people. So there will be an entire shift that will happen from volume to value. And the third shift, what we are seeing is there will be a shift from employability to deployability. Today, none of the organizations really have time to get somebody, train him for 6 months, give him all the resources. Nobody has patience in today's world. So the expectation is an engineer is out of the college, if he can be deployed into projects right from day one, that's the best thing that can happen. So the entire shift or the focus is towards deployability, where you can deploy an engineer sooner and faster. So these are 3 big shifts that will happen. And fourth is the trend we are seeing is fit for purpose hiring, where students will be hired for specific job profiles rather than hiring them for generic. If you look at IT services, generally we used to hire in thousands and put them wherever there is demand. What we are seeing as a trend is a movement towards fit for purpose hiring, what we call in Wipro, where you earmark people for specific job profiles. Say an electronic students will work only in VLSI or a telecom. A CS guy will do work in data analytics or a big data. So specific job profiles will be created, and the expectation is the students from the engineering colleges are ready for those specific job profiles. So they should have a specific domain skill in addition to the whole lot of things what we expect. So that's the fourth thing, what we see as a change which will come up in future, where organizations will look for specific people for specific job profiles. Lastly, so what are those 3 or 4 important skill set which is extremely important for engineers? First and foremost, technical skills I would say specifically programming ability. One thing we lack as a country today is ability to write good code. You go to the topmost university or the college in this country, you keep a coding assessment, hardly 5% of the people clear those assessments. That's data. So we need to build that capability. It's not only computer science, IT engineer knows programming and coding. We need to get to a level, anybody who's interested to come into IT industry will need to do programming. It's like product hiring, right? The services companies will get into a model where we'll also look at programming ability to a great extent. Because that's one capability which is taking months for us to develop in a student. So if that can be made available in institutions and colleges, that will go a long way. So one takeaway, definitely I will request all of you that, if you're college management or whomever you go and meet your students, tell them that, final years, they are out, that's different. From a second year, third year, first year perspective, if they want a career in IT industry, they should pick up programming. It's bread and butter. So that one message, please leave it to your students and your communities, that it could be any language, it could be C or a C++ or a Java or whatever be it, but students will have to pick up programming ability. And the second thing is communication skill. This has been spoken in multiple forums. But again, I like to reiterate that ability to speak and write good English communication is extremely important. Because as I spoke before, the models are changing. The engineer is exposed to customer very, very early. So unless he's able to read, write, and speak good English, he will not be able to succeed in the world of tomorrow, because that's becoming one skill which is extremely essential, communication skill. Third is problem solving ability. Again, this would have got spoken in the morning, I'm sure. Aptitude performance in this part of the country, in our state, is very, very less when compared to all the states in this country. Different reports have shown, our own data is showing that, because we don't have an entrance. So people are not tuned towards competitive exams. And our syllabus is also towards scoring marks, the rote way of learning. So 11th is not taught, 12th is taught, and they mug up things. All those things are repetitive. So ability, that problem solving capability, because the kind of world we are living in, it's very important to be innovative and try to solve the same problem in different ways. So unless your problem solving capability is good, it will be very, very difficult to succeed in the industry. And how we measure problem solving is through this analytical and aptitude test. So that's extremely important that your students are well trained in analytical skills. So these are three things. And fourth is, of course, all the social and life skills, which was covered in the morning. I don't want to repeat it in the interest of time. So programming ability, along with their subject knowledge, analytical capability, communication skills, and life skills. All these are extremely important for engineers to succeed in the world of tomorrow. So finally, one message which I want to leave with all of you guys is, industry may go up, come down, but one thing is, there are always opportunities for the right people. The people with the right skill set will always have exciting opportunities. And it's our responsibility to ensure that your students have the right skills in them so that they are able to make use of the opportunities the world is presenting. Some of the exciting things, for example, a driverless car or, a whole lot of stuff that is happening in the technology world, which was never in existence. If you look at some of the jobs which are there today, was not even there 5 years, 10 years back, not 10 years, even 5 years back, those jobs were not there. So a lot of new jobs are coming. Only thing is, we need to be ready to make use of those opportunities. I'm sure if we as an industry and all of you work together, we can create a bright tomorrow for all the students who are studying in different colleges. So with this, I'd like to thank the ICT Academy for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be here, and my best wishes to each one of you for success in whatever you do. Thank you and all the best.